Today is the 11th of October 2025, and yesterday the gold price reached an all-time high. And what does this mean for us as jewelers? It actually means that we're in trouble. How do we still make jewelry and turn a profit without charging exorbitant prices for our clients? Because what's going to happen is we're going to price ourselves out of the market. There's no way we can still make jewelry the traditional way and still turn a profit. But in today's video, I'll be showing you a little tip or a little trick that I've developed that might just save you a bit of money and keep you in business. So I had a customer come in a couple of weeks ago, and she wanted a big dome ring made like this one. Right? And she had her own gold, so she's not expecting to pay a lot of money. But what happens if you have to make a ring like this? You have to add a lot of gold to the client's metal to actually roll it out, shape it, solder it, then file it half round, and end up filing away about 5 to 6, even 7 grams of gold that's going to turn into dust, float up into the air, and never to be seen again. Or you'll see it again once you send the refining away once a year, and then the refineries take 20% of your gold. So you're just losing money all the way. I was tired of losing money, right? I want to turn a profit. I want to be able to pay my rent. I want to be able to keep the lights on. So if you've watched my videos before, you know that I've been experimenting with the microwave, right? Microwave casting is what I'm calling it. I hope it catches on, because you save a shitload of money by doing it this way. So no more yapping, let's get started. So you're going to start with checking your measurements, getting your measurements correct on your wax model, right? Because you're going to file this wax piece into a ring shape. Well, essentially the dome ring. Doing it this way, you're going to end up wasting wax instead of wasting gold. So it's, to me, it's a no-brainer. Doing it this way is just a better method. Now, you don't necessarily need to use all the tools that I'm using. I just use what I have on hand, like my little ceramic burr. And it just makes life a little bit faster, but carving instead of sitting and filing everything. And because you're doing it in wax, you don't have to worry about all the gold, well, if it had to be in gold, flying all over the place. I mean, wax, it's not an issue compared to gold. Make sure to regularly measure your wax piece, because you don't want to make a mistake, because obviously with wax being so soft, it's quite easy to make a mistake and just file too hard and file too much away. So it's best to keep measuring and not have any issues once you've cast the ring in gold. I don't spend too much time with sanding on the ring and trying to get it all shiny and perfect for the cast, because I'll be finishing it off myself. So just a rough finish is good. You can also weigh your wax, so if you multiply the wax weight by 11.3, then you get to the gold weight. So that gives you a good indication of what the ring will finish at. Now that you have your wax ring carved, it's time to fix it onto the base of the flask. And the way we do this is I just warm up a little metal rod. You can use an old file, anything handy that will not burn your hands. And first you want to do is make a little makeshift sprue and attach it to the ring. And you do this by melting the wax and carefully attach the ring to the wax sprue. So that's sprue, not screw. So S-P-R-E-U-W-E-H. I don't know how to spell. Don't take my word for it. I'm a jeweler. I'm not here to teach you how to spell. Now that you have your wax sprue attached to the ring, it's time to actually fix it to the base. So same thing, just keep the ring nice and straight and make sure it's nice and center, and then fill up all the cavities. You don't want any holes, because any holes in the wax will fill up with investment powder, and you don't want that. So once you're happy with the way the wax sprue is fitted, it's time to fit the flask. Now the flask is the barrel section that fits onto the base. Now that's the bit that you're going to fill up with the investment powder. So I generally add a little bit of masking tape just to allow me a bit of excess investment powder, so I overfill it ever so slightly, and you'll see later in the video why I do that. See, it's nice and center and there won't be any issues. Now it's time to mix the investment powder or the investment slurry. Use investment powder for this. I've gone into much detail in previous videos with this. I'll just do a quick rundown. You need 100 grams of investment powder to 30 grams of water. I don't always weigh it, I eyeball it. I go for a pancake batter consistency, and that generally works well for me. Once you are happy with the consistency and there's no more clumps and bumps and dry spots, it's time to put it in the vacuum chamber. Now I'll leave links in the description below for the vacuum chamber, vacuum pump, and all that sort of things. And I am working on my own bases and everything, which I'll be selling on my website, which will be available on the website fairly soon. And what this does is actually remove all the excess air from the investment slurry, and that avoids bubbles when you do the casting process. And once you're happy with that, it's time to pour it over into our flask. Now I generally pour it like you would pour a beer. Keep the flask at a slight angle and then pour very slowly, making sure you cover the whole piece quite evenly. And what you want to do is pour it such a way so you kind of don't trap any air inside the flask or around the wax article. Once you've done that, it's time to vacuum again, because for sure there is some air in there. You'll notice now when we turn on the vacuum pump again, we've got air bubbles rising up again. I usually vacuum for about a minute at a time. That I found is a good benchmark, because you can actually over bubble it, and you don't want to have that happening, because then it's all a mess. Yeah, so once you're happy with, or once you vacuum it for another minute, it's time to let it rest. Now we'll let it sit for an hour or two, just for everything to dry up. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is why I add the masking tape. At the end, I just top up ever so slightly, because when it's dry, you can actually just scrape the excess off, and you get a nice level base, because you want it to be, that bit is the bit that side is going to be attached to the vacuum base when you do the casting. So you want a nice level and flush surface to attach to the base of the vacuum, or attach to the vacuum base essentially, to get a nice seal. Now this is where the magic happens. You place your flask in your microwave kiln, and once again I've got an affiliate link in the description below for one of those if you're interested. I generally put it in for 10 minutes increments. So you'll notice I'll do it for 10 minutes, start it up, let it run, and I'll do that 3 times. I don't know why it works on 3 times, 3 10-minute increments. If you do it longer, it doesn't cast properly. If you do it less, it doesn't cast properly either. For some reason, the 10 minutes at 3 increments just works well. I don't know the science behind it. I think it's the first 10 minutes, you get a slight burn, the wax started to melt, and then the second 10 minutes, it kind of do the full burnout. It clears the cavity of the inside of the flask. Now it's starting to get hot, so you'll see a slight red tinge. All the wax is burned away, but it's still a little bit gray around the opening there. Now when we do it for the last 10 minutes, you'll see the magic happen. Because once I open it, you'll see it's actually red hot, and the flask is essentially still too hot to actually cast, but it's ready. The burnout has been done, so it's ready for casting. So what I like to do before I start melting the metal, I'll open the flask, or I'll open the kiln, just for the flask to cool down a bit, because it's obviously way too hot. When you pour the metal into it now, the metal will stick to the inside of the investment powder. And you don't want that happening, because that causes porosity and all that nonsense. The flask is now cooled down enough for me to be casting it. So you've noticed I put the customer's metal in the crucible, a smidge extra just to create a button, and you don't need a large button. So what's happening here is the vacuum base is actually drawing all the air out of the cavity, and when you pour the metal in, it actually sucks the gold into the cavity. And because we've allowed it to cool down a bit, it flows beautifully inside the actual negative of the mold where the wax used to be. And there we have it, a lovely gold ring without having to file and shape and waste a lot of metal. So I'll leave it in the acid for a few minutes and I'll show you what it looks like. Now look at that. You can't tell me that doesn't look good. That's an awesome ring that I've casted using the microwave.
Right. Yeah.
And it saves on power, saves on time. And just to put it in perspective, I literally did all of this within, say, roughly 3 hours. Because it took me about half an hour to file the wax, another half an hour to get the investment and everything set up, and then obviously we waited half an hour with the microwave, and then and it sat for about an hour and a half to allow the investment powder to dry up. But look at that, a beautiful dome ring, and there's only a little bit of work left to do. So just filing the screw away, and a little bit of filing compared to what you would have filed away, shaping that whole ring out of a solid piece, is almost nothing. So all I do now is clean up the ring, bit of sanding, bit of filing, bit of polishing, and then we have a beautiful ring. And there's no ways you can make this ring with this little amount of wastage out of a solid piece. And this is the way you save money. If you invest a little bit of money into the equipment, I'm using a little cheap microwave. The only thing that cost a bit of money was the vacuum pump, and the rest of it was actually quite cheap. I made my own flasks, and I'm still going to make a video and show you how to do that. So consider subscribing if you'd like to see how that gets done. Well, there you have it. That's making a dome ring in the microwave by carving a wax and casting it with the customer's gold. Longest title is still a work in progress. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments what you think of this method. Do you think it's viable? Do you think it's silly? Or do you think it's genius? Just being silly. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. And like I've said before, all the links will be in the description that I have available at the moment. And they are affiliate links. They help me to keep this channel going. It obviously takes a lot of time out of my day, and I'm a jobbing jeweler, so I work for a living. I don't just make YouTube videos. But yeah, if you found it helpful, please consider smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel. I'll be posting regular videos. I've got my son Xander helping me with the recordings. I don't have to try and mess around with the camera angles anymore. He's been helping me, especially this is his first video, so shout out Xander if you like it. I think he did well for his first recording session, and we'll be doing more regular posts and trying to give you more tips, helpful hints on how to save money, and being a jeweler and saving money, especially if you're starting out. You know, this channel might be for you. So that's going to be it, folks. Thank you for watching. I really hope this video was helpful and that you can take something away from it and Start your jewelry making journey and try and make, what's the word I'm looking for? And be successful. I want all of you guys out there, each and every person watching this video, I want you to be successful, or at least be able to pay their rent, and keep the lights on. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Chunky Jeweler out. You're a gem.